Folks, we are on the HashiCorp Terraform provider registry here, and we're looking at only a few of over 5,000 providers, folks. The top three are obviously the main big hitters here in the public cloud: AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. But you can select a number of categories here, folks, for whatever you need to solve your problems, folks, with. Now, the reason we're here is because I see a lot of people looking to get into tech, folks, and they're unsure of what areas to go into. But if you get in and learn the basics of cloud, folks, like I've said on multiple occasions, this here can stand you in good stead for whatever direction you want to go in, be it security, AI, machine learning, architecture, administration, identity and access management, parts of security. There's a multitude of different, I call them rabbit holes to go down, but there is really, you can do a multitude. I would nearly err, and be biased and say cloud's the backbone of like a lot of tech at the minute, but it really is, folks. Like the data centers, are going up around the world at a rapid rate of knots to keep up with the pace of companies, demand on the cloud. And, to lay some figures on this, folks, to show you the speed of how fast, just Terraform here is as a cloud provider, registry here. We're going to look at some of the figures. So here's AWS, folks. Just this week, this provider for AWS has been downloaded over 32 million times. In its lifetime, it's been downloaded nearly 5 billion times. It's the longest running cloud provider, AWS, in the public cloud, but it's closely followed by Azure, folks. And you can see there, downloads this year, over 300 million downloads of all time, 1.1 billion, but it has only been running possibly since 2010, so not as long as AWS. At the end of the day, folks, if you're into any of these cloud providers, the knowledge crosses over. If you've been following my journey, I crossed over from AWS to Azure, and the knowledge crosses over, folks. And it's good to get a bit of variation and see where you can, utilize different providers to serve your customers, folks. Okay, you can see this past week 10 million times this provider's been downloaded, folks. And we're going to look at the other one, Google Cloud Platform, 1.5 billion over a time. This week, 11.5 million times this provider here has been downloaded, this Terraform registry provider, folks. This isn't counting all the other things that are happening in cloud outside of Terraform. Honestly, folks, these figures should really prick your ears up with possibly something you want to explore a little bit more, folks. All right, it's not going anywhere, the cloud, anytime soon. It's a good skill to have, and if you master the basics, folks, that will stand you in good stead to go anywhere with it. Like always, reach out, ask questions, get curious, get on platforms like LinkedIn, see who, the most popular people in these industries are, look at their history, backgrounds, where they've came from. I didn't come from a straightforward background into tech, folks. I got interested and I fell into cloud by accident, and it really was like landing on my feet, to be honest, because I've branched off into multiple different things since I've been in it, and it's interesting. Someone like me who's always been used to using their hands, I miss working in my physical jobs, but as my body slowed down, I needed to get into something that was still going to keep me interested, folks, and this really has. The cloud industry is just so huge and just constantly moving, things to learn all the time. So it's really a good industry to get into, folks, but you got to get curious. You got to reach out, ask questions, get really curious and see where you want to go with it. All right. But I just thought I'd throw these figures out here, folks, because it's in black and white there. You might hear and see a lot of things, in the news, but this is in black and white, folks. These are being used by industries, and they're being used by people that are just learning the cloud as well. But in a week, 11.5 million times, that's a lot. So it is 10 million times in a week, or 32 million times in a week, AWS. All right. So as always, folks, I leave this one with you. and I'll wish you all the best. Take care and good luck.